Let's see if we're live. And I think we're live. And all right. What's up, interwebs? Andy McCabe here. Joe Spears over there. This is the Restoration Rebel Roundtable for the 17th of January, 2024. January has started out with a bang, or shall I say a freeze. Most of the country is experiencing or has just experienced a freeze event. We happen to be thawing out here in Bend, Oregon. Yesterday was just a circus. It was a goat rope circus, as my folks would put it. The streets were just covered in ice, and no one was going anywhere fast. And I know that's the probably pretty common across the country. Okay, Joe, thank you for putting up the link. I'm going to put the link the same. Abby,
I
yeah.
will say though, man, you say, I mean, I feel like this winter storm here, it's becoming a common occurrence. Last year we had the freeze
Mhm,
again. I mean,
mhm,
just like how we've been having more and more hurricanes, it seems like
mhm.
every year right after Christmas, everybody gets hit with a massive, you
Just
know.
that Arctic swirl. But hey, I think we're ahead of ourselves. We haven't done the do.
Oh, there we
Let's
go.
let's do the agreements. Hold on. Share screen. Share window, share the agreements. Here we go. Agreement number 1. I will protect the value of my services. Offering free services only serves to erode the value of similar services industry wide. Agreement number 2. I will practice incredible transparency. I will explain the claim process to my client. I will not hide pricing details or falsify reports. I will never communicate with an adjuster without also communicating with my client. Agreement number 3, I do not believe in competition. The restoration companies in my market are part of my community. I will be an active member of my community. It is our unbreakable unity that will create the change that we strive for. And agreement number 4, I am willing to walk away from any project, client, or contract that is not compatible with my values and stated mission. No relationship is worth losing money, sleep, or my humanity. This is why we're here. You know, what's amazing is I see someone operating contrary to those 4 agreements in one way, shape, or form every single day. Today's thing was, and I'm operating in a new office here, so my camera's not quite set up the way I like it. Today's was, do we play the game of accepting the adjuster's estimate, knowing full well that we're going to supplement down the road, knowing full well that that is not the correct scope of work, that is not the correct price of work. I am not willing to do that project for this price, but I'm somehow going to go under contract for that number and then play
Oh,
this supplement game. It's just so frustrating.
well, and half the people that do that don't have any clue what the words change order even means. And they're just like, oh, I'll supplement the insurance later. God forbid they ever became my contractor, because I'd be like, oh, the contractor was only for X. Well, we
Hey,
supplemented. You don't work for them. You work for me. I
I
didn't
didn't
sign.
agree to that. Exactly.
Yeah.
You said you would fix my house for that. I'm going to hold you to that. And the insurance company is going to write me more money. Fine. That's my money, son. Uh-huh. John Wesley Savin says same what? No snow? Oh, yeah, no snow. Same here. Okay. Well, wait
But
for it. Rob, you gotta pay attention to the stream. Go to the top of the stream. Both of us have posted that link.
I've also have that. I also put it in my chat log as well.
Okay.
So,
Perfect.
but Yeah, no, that's playing that supplement bullshit game. It's part of my language. I mean that I'm going to post in the chat log here as well. That
Very good.
is a hardcore, 100%. That is a general contractor that was a roofer, and now they're trying to move into other stuff because that's what roofers do. Oh, we'll just get it paid for, and then we'll supplement later.
Yeah.
I can't enter into a contract without knowing whether or not I'm going to make money and knowing for a fact I'm going to get paid. Like,
You know what gets me is these roofers that they will take the money, they will fix the roof. After the roof is done, they're sending these supplements to the insurance company.
and they're not taking pictures because they're like, oh, but my crew just knocked it off in one day, so I didn't have time to get picked up there and get pictures.
No, I would, yeah. If I was an adjuster, I would tell every single roofer that did that supplement game to go pound sand, son.
But
There are. There you
there
are. You can.
are advocates on the roofing industry side that literally market materials saying that if your supplement is not 50% or greater than the original adjuster's check, you ain't roofing right and you're losing out on money. And it's asinine. Like, the adjuster thinks it's this here. I'm the professional. My estimate is how much it should be. So the supplement is for stuff I couldn't account for, and
Well, here's a great question. Change order versus supplement. Well, they're the same thing, but a supplement is what's submitted to the insurance company for reimbursement for unforeseen or additional scope or whatever else happens. The change order is the contract mechanics that you have to perform with your client. You have an original contract. In order to get that additional money added to that contract, you have to do it via change order. So the supplement and change order are the same thing.
okay, so your estimate connects to your initial contract. Your supplement connects to your change order because Andy, you're my homeowner. I write the estimate for $10,000, and then halfway through the job, we find out, oh, we got to do another $5,000. If I'll submit an insurance to a supplement to your insurance, but you need to sign this change order, understanding that if they don't pay it, either I stop work or you're going to owe $5,000 more because that's what I need to get this job done.
Exactly right. So the supplement is just the way of getting the carrier to reimburse their insured for the costs that they just incurred. What is up, Mr. Maui? Let's get our Maui update out of the way. What's up, Rob?
How are you guys doing today?
Great, man. Doing well.
So I think I sent you a link, but I found an interesting page where they're actually doing kind of like a live kind of situation, like a fire debris removal. Part. And they actually have like a map of where the current state. Like we're just entering phase 2 now. So they posted pretty much a phase 1, phase 2 picture diagram of how you can clean up your lot. You can either go through the Army Corps of Engineers on a consolidated debris remove program, or the alternate debris remove program is hiring a contractor outside. Which the main interesting thing, I sent you a second link of the alternative programs, and right now, like the county of Maui doesn't have a location to dump privately.
Right.
And it could be months
the ocean.
They do that.
It's kind of frowned upon.
So pretty much, like, I mean, I mean, if you went that route, like it would be a nightmare probably to figure out where you're going to, because the dump's not sucking any debris from Lahaina. But the benefits, obviously with the Army Corps of Engineers is, they'll take care of your lot for whatever your lot cleanup policy coverage is, and nothing more than that.
Okay.
Which is the nice thing. The big difference between like here in Hawaii versus like in the California campfire is California campfire has plenty of areas to dispose of hazardous debris versus Hawaii. Right. We're very limited. So.
And what are they going to do ultimately? Just put it on a big barge and get it somewhere else?
So yeah, they're going to ship it to the mainland.
Okay.
I could make some comment on that disposing. Be very careful when you do dispose, even if you're using a third party, because you could actually be found liable in the event that they come and do an inspection at the dump site and they run that ledger or that log sheet and your name's on there and they find out there is a contaminant that's not supposed to be at that site. They will go ahead and put everybody on notice for the lawsuit to do for that cleanup.
Ooh.
That coverage is called non-owned disposal site coverage. And I typically include that on my policies for you guys because I have seen that come up where the contractor's like, well, we just took it over here. That's where we thought we could take it. Unknowingly, it wasn't the approved site. So
It looks like they've got
So the Blues
A
all the
lot of
houses
people.
that signed up already.
Yeah.
For the Army Corps engineer removal.
I flew over on the plane with those guys last week coming into Hawaii, and they had quite a few of them, and most of them were flying in from inland or from the mainland. None of them. It didn't seem like very many of them were locals.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
Also, if I can point out something funny that was reported that the current Maui, I think it's the governor, just got caught. I think they're talking about putting him in jail. He actually, for the last 9 years that he's been in charge, has set up his own company called H2. And he has been awarding contracts without any fair bidding practice. $12.8 million so far they have found that he just allocated contracts to himself. So Maui's dirty.
Well, it's
But Robert Larson is clean as can be.
Robert can't say anything. He's got to make things with everybody on the island. It's very small.
That's right.
Yep.
And I
So
can say,
let's talk freeze. Let's talk cat. We get one a year, and I think this is it. This is the one. What I am seeing and what I have seen in the past is, there's folks that are doing it right, and there's folks that are making up as I go along. And every single cat we lose restores. And the reason we lose restores is not because they're not doing a lot of work. It's because they're not getting paid for the work that they're doing. And there's a big difference. So I'm a huge advocate of document. And I think I put a little a video out earlier today and I said, if you're not thinking about how you're going to get paid when you start the job, your chances of collecting 100% of your invoice in the day is much lower than if you strategize and concentrate on, okay, what is going to give me the best chances of getting paid, and work your process all the way through with that intention. And it starts with a good contract. Do you have an insurance proceeds contract? You're not going to get paid in full. Do you have the proper work authorization? Do you have the proper things in your contract that are going to protect you? Do you have lien rights? Do you have late fees built into that contract? Are you contracting with the actual owner, the actual insured? So many times in cats. What's that?
I said, is what you're having them sign an actual contract?
Exactly.
If there's not a price on that paper, it is not a valid contract.
Yeah. Are you doing work? Did you get called in by a property manager who doesn't have the decision-making ability or contract ability to contract for your services? If not, you're doing all that work for free. Have you set up in your operation a way to quickly turn those field notes and documentation into invoices? Can your estimators keep up? And that's where folks like Joe's company and my company come in. We support your claim staff through that process, so you can. Yeah, you of course you're ramping up your labor, right? You're ramping up your field staff, but you're also ramping up your estimating staff. I would venture to guess most people are like, nope, I'm just going to work my guys 24 hours a day until they drop. But
That's a yellow and green mentality there.
exactly. So, at the end of the day, do you have a schedule of of calls and emails that are going out on all this work you did and all the invoices that went out? Are you following up on those? Do you have a plan to collect that money on day one? So there's all kinds of things, and we're not going to talk about equipment or labor, right? If you haven't figured out those problems, you probably shouldn't be in the game. You should just bow out and go do other work. Um,
And as
but
I say every single year, guys, especially when the freezes happen, pay attention to the jobs and just because and remember, a commercial loss is not the same as a residential loss.
mhm,
If you're not familiar with commercial losses, do not be that asshole that goes in there and tries to demo it all out on day one because that's what needs to be done per the standard of care. It is a commercial loss. You extract, you
stabilize.
stabilize and set up some equipment, and then you make a meeting plan up with the owner of the property to make sure you're minimizing, people from having to be out of work, you
Loss
know,
of income,
loss of
Loss of
income,
income,
safety,
business interruption.
business
safety.
interruption.
I mean, you do not be. I'm every year I hear somebody, oh yeah, there a strip mall or something flooded, and we went in and tore everything out, and I'm like, you are wrong. And then they're like, well, I can't get paid. Well, that's why.
No, you cannot. No, you
90% of the
cannot.
time, in my experience, if they say they are the manager of the shop, they don't have permission to sign your paperwork.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
They might have permission to sign your $2,000-3,000 maybe extraction estimate, but they don't have buying power beyond that.
No.
I'm hearing a lot of guys are giving me some of my subjectivities I require to get their insurance policies is a customer authorization agreement. And I'm hearing a lot of the guys are changing that name of that document to a customer contract agreement just to make sure there's no ambiguity about it being an estimate or an authorization only to be there to walk around. We always say get something in writing before you walk in the door. But now I'm hearing that even the verbiage that you're putting on that actual document. And I always say, get the signature from everybody, the babysitter, the renter, the homeowner.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, if they didn't have authorization to sign that and approve your work, getting your payment is going to take forever, and it's
Mhm.
going to be pennies on the dollar because they will fight you tooth and nail. Like
Yeah.
you sign, you extract, maybe set up equipment. All right, let's in the morning figure out who actually has permission, verify that it's you, and let's figure out what needs done. And too many times that doesn't happen.
That's what
Yeah,
I'm saying. Get more than one. Don't be like, oh, we got our signature.
Well,
that might
the
have been
biggest
the one that you got when you knocked on the door, but collect them.
the biggest problem I see is the work authorization is usually open-ended. It's not quantified.
Okay.
It's
This bill will
usually
be based
not.
on the Xactimate price
Yeah,
program.
or worst case, we will work for what the insurance company pays. It's, an insurance proceeds contract is terrible, but a lot of them I've seen don't even have a schedule of fees. You can do it with what's called a work authorization, but if you don't have a schedule of fees, there's no way for that person who's signing that contract to even guesstimate how much they're in for. And
Yeah.
that's what makes it a contract is they understand they are going to owe you something and you have done your best to quantify that.
A
Right?
judge will tell you that they don't know if it's $100, $1,000, $1,000,000.
Yep.
So therefore, it's not a valid contract.
It's not a valid contract.
Something that was kind of beneficial when I joined the RIA is they provided some, just basic contracts, and on the work authorization on this, on the, I think it's the third page, they pretty much have you enter your pricing for your base rate hours,
Yep.
water tech mitigation, hazard tech, all your equipment, and that way it's there to sign for, and then and if you bill off your Xactimate estimate, at least you have some kind of quantified pricing in there when they signed.
Hey, Andrew, we had those a long time ago. I don't know if they're, proprietary, or if those were Ed Cross's. But I think once you become a member of RIA, a little RIA membership push. If you become a member of the RIA, you are privy to these sample agreements, contracts, customer authorization agreement, subcontractor agreement.
Yep.
And they're very detailed. And I think that Ed Cross has put his stamp on those. If you're not going to go to edcross.com and buy the package for $8.99, maybe we could share those again for the new year.
Well, the obviously Ed Cross has the package, for restoration. The RIA, you're right, has some really great stuff in there as well. We've got some stuff in the group. If you go search through the archives, that we've got so much of that stuff here. But at the end of the day, you do something. Be intelligent and think ahead. Here's the difference between someone who's going to succeed through this storm event and someone who's going to fail. Someone who is not reacting. If you're reacting, you're not your likelihood of succeeding is going to fail. You need to have your plan up front and go, if this happens, we're going to do this, and then we're going to do this, and then we're going to do this. Just follow the plan. But if you don't have a plan and you're just picking up the phone's ringing off the hook, and you just going crazy, when your systems are stressed and you're scaling, when you're trying to scale super quick, that's when your systems fail.
If you don't have controlled growth and you don't have infrastructure and you're just picking up that phone to get on these calls, you're going to implode. One way or another, you're going to end up with workers' comp claims, general liability claims. It's just, I see it every day. They're like, we failed. We grew too big. We didn't have a plan. Oh, you mean we should have actually had some infrastructure for keeping track of our payroll? It's just...
and guys, you do need to check with your, whoever's in charge, your business lawyer, whoever. But every state does have different rules. I love having a list of fees that says here's how much this here, but I'm also at the same time not a fan of having the pricing there because, it says that it's $53 an hour or $65 an hour for a tech. They were only here for 4 hours, and they're like, the math doesn't add up. You get a homeowner savvy like that. It can be as simple as on your contract, list of work being done, extraction, move contents, set up equipment, remove baseboards, apply antimicrobial. We estimate that the price of this project will be $6,200, not to exceed, and then you can add up to don't add more than $5,000 to it, or else you can't go to small claims court. So no more than $11,000 in all, not to exceed $11,000. In the event that we feel that the job will exceed $11,000, a change order will be provided to you, going over the reasons for that. That's a valid contract.
Don't be afraid to write your estimates, with what they're paying for it, because it's not your checkbook. Stop being afraid to put the big number on there. If you try to lowball the number, it's going to bite you in the ass in the end.
Yeah. Me personally, whatever price I thought it was, I would always add $3,000 or $4,000 to it, and that was my initial number with the buffer. And then guess what? If I came in under contract amount, I looked like a rock star. Like it was great.
Under promise, overachieve.
Yeah, I quickly looked up the RIA, and I think they charge like $250. But if you're a member, you get those contracts for free. But that's a good baseline.
So especially because we still have guys popping up left and right. I've wrote 5 new guys just getting into it. So.
Speaking of the freeze, real quick, Andy, because I keep seeing you try to talk and then we interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
Guys, I'm going to say this once, and it's one of the most controversial comments I'm probably going to say in this group, but it is true, and you can fight me on it all you want. Just because the sprinkler line froze does not make it category 3. That is in the standard of care. It's not a category 3 automatically. If you are responding to freezes and it's sprinkler lines, you need to quantify that water by getting some testing done or an IEP in there, because it could be a fresh supply, or it could be a fresh supplied one. It could be glycanol in it, which makes it category 3 HMR, not just WTR. There's multiple kinds of water. Sometimes it's gray. It can, in the S500, be considered category 1.
I think I've said this before, but I'll say it again. I am so sick and tired of the Cat 1 versus Cat 3 argument. I would be more inclined to call everything Cat 1 and don't even bother with any other rating, just to eliminate the argument.
They want Cat 3 so that way they can justify gutting the rooms out. And it's like one sprinkler head burst, and yeah, there was a little gunk in there. But then it was a fresh sprinkler line that ran for 3 hours. That little bit of water that got everywhere, and then 3 hours of fresh water does not mean it's grossly contaminated anymore.
Yeah, I would also add the caveat that if there's a sprinkler line like that, it's probably commercial, and you probably have other things to consider, like business interruption, like loss of rent, and oftentimes it's quicker to cut it out instead of trying to dry it, cut it out and replace it, and it gets them back in business quicker. So there's, I don't have to call it Cat 3 to do that.
I used to do a lot. I always got sprinkler lines in nursing homes. And then you got to move the old people around, and you got to put up critical barriers and fire tape drywall and make a door so they don't get in the hallway and stuff. Like, guys, like, it is a beast.
And then you got old ladies adopting all your water techs. Oh, Billy, you never visit me anymore.
But, I see every year, I see people being like, the sprinkler line burst, and the adjusters, I ran it as a category 3, and the adjusters giving me crap for it. Yeah, they're allowed to, because the standard of care says, get it tested and validate it first if you're going to try to run it as Cat 3.
Or call it Cat 1. Call it Cat 1.
Just say, regardless of it being Cat 1 or Cat 3, it was more economical for us to go ahead and rip the drywall down and get it dried out quickly and get you guys back up and running.
Yeah. Hey, I got to give a shout out to these guys here. I've never heard of them before, but these guys are in my hometown. Corvallis, the Corvallis contractor.
Nice truck, nice route.
Nick, looking sharp, man. That's a good looking truck right there.
Nick.
Yeah, that's about 3.5 hours from here. Looks like they've got the same ice situation we're dealing with over here. But
I didn't know people actually use chains on their trucks. That was just a
nice looking truck.
Since you have some important people on here, let's talk about the bad weather, because this is where y'all are calling your own broker with all of your big problems. And one of them right now I'm seeing is your guys trying to race to a job site in a 14,000 gross vehicle weight box truck. He just jumped out of his Honda Accord to get in his big box truck, and he's driving it like it's a Honda Accord. You guys, you got to talk to your guys, whether they've been with you for 2 months or 10 years. You've got to slow them down. You got to be the daddy in the office. You got to say, hey, you guys, weather's getting bad. Roads are weird. I need you all to keep 6 car lengths. Your trucks are heavy with all the equipment in there. Have your spotter in the truck. If you're going to have 2 guys in there, don't let him sit with his headphones watching his, playing on his iPad. Or, you got to tell that guy that's the passenger, you help our driver get to the job site. You help him find the address. You help him back up. You help him get
the navigator. Yeah.
And get out of that parking lot. I am seeing a lot of car accidents right now in box trucks. It's winter weather. You need to make sure you're reminding your crew that they need to drive different.
Yeah, totally. I agree.
If that shit shifts on you, you will go sliding like a sled right into the car ahead of you.
I have never seen a truck like that. Look at that top truck. What is that, an F450?
That's what they drive around like construction sites for, like hydraulic crane repair and stuff.
The size of that thing. Another good looking truck.
$90,000 pickup truck.
Oh no, it's more than that. Yeah, it's more than that.
So right now, if you're in Florida, I had a guy, he had a brand new one just like that. He called me up. He was super excited. Bought it brand new, fully loaded King Cab, Florida, car insurance, $14,000 a year.
Wow.
One truck. So you cannot afford auto claims. These auto these auto insurance carriers are killing you guys. I keep talking about it, but
Especially Florida.
We're up to $5,000 a unit per vehicle.
And if we're talking safety in the wintertime, guys, remember the basics all the time. You need to keep a heater of some kind in the cab or in the back to make sure your machines don't freeze.
Mhm.
If you guys are planning on having to extract and then you're using a water tank on the truck, don't tell your guys not to pull that solution line in until they're ready to use it. It will freeze, and then you'll have to unhook it all, ravel it, take it in the homeowner's house, stick it in their bathtub, let it thaw out. It's a pain in the ass. You know.
Also,
Your guys should have some rock salt in their truck so that the way they're sprinkling it on the driveway and sidewalk and everything as they're going in, so it helps melt as they're coming in and out with all this dripping wet carpet and pad, because that will freeze and then someone will slip and break an arm.
Workers' comp. I'm seeing a lot of workers' comp claims slipping. So you guys, make sure your guys are wearing appropriate footwear. Make sure that when they're stepping out of the truck, you're forcing if you see it, you're negligent for not calling your guy out for that. You're creating a bad culture. If you see your guys get in the truck and not step on that step before they step onto the ground, or get out of the back of the truck and not use the lift gate or the bumper to get down, you're going to have a soft tissue workers' comp claim, and it's going to be on your record for 2 or 3 years. And you're going to be negligent. So don't waste your money. Don't waste your money. I'm telling you, have infrastructure. Your employees need to be talked to like just a gentle reminder, like you do your kids every morning when they leave, and they're driving their cars. You're like, okay, you guys be safe. Like, don't use your phone. And I'm hoping I told you guys all at Christmas, buy everybody headsets. Don't let these guys use their phones anymore to map or anything. Buy everybody a headset. You should have bought your whole crew headsets for Christmas.
It doesn't. I didn't know it froze in Louisiana. Evidently it does. That's got to be super cold for those Creoles down there.
Anything south of like Indianapolis is not used to getting snow and ice, and like if they get an ice storm, it shuts the whole city down because they don't have the plow trucks and the salt trucks like we do up here and all. Like if you get a fine little thin misting of flurries going on, done.
Also, one more thing. I just got another claim. Somebody in their infinite wisdom had a bunch of extra equipment and they decided that they were going to become a rental equipment company. However, they didn't let the insurance company know that they were more than just a restoration company, that they were now renting equipment. If you get this great idea that you're going to try to make money off of your buddy and let him rent your equipment and you're going to charge him, just know that if that equipment freezes or isn't being supervised by someone that knows about that equipment and it causes further damage, you could actually be liable. So don't become a rental equipment company.
And you got no coverage. You got no coverage for that.
So don't do that. You guys,
you just lend the equipment. You don't rent it. You're not getting money back.
There you go. A gift card. Use a gift card. Get a gift card.
And
I didn't say that. Don't do it.
And guys, this is the one time of the year where we all get to do the dry out system that only certain special companies get to do every year, and that's open drying. That when it's freezing outside, the humidity is so low, guys, never underappreciate popping that window open and burping the house. I have burped more houses in the dead of winter while I'm demoing and getting that bulk moisture out than I have any other time in my life.
Classic. No, that was good. Good point.
That's a good one right there. That's a good one right there.
Don't send your kid to college. Teach him to be a plumber.
I think we beat this horse dead. Should we just go to the peanut gallery and see if we can answer some questions? Unless you guys have something else to add.
Just Happy New Year, everyone, to death.
Yes, right.
I'd love to have some actual viewers chime in with questions or concerns.
Yeah, it's kind of quiet in the peanut gallery today. So, somebody's phone's ringing. We got our first caller. Ouch. That's just cold. That's cold-hearted right there. Wow.
Is he talking about Hunter Biden?
No,
No.
he's
Mitch
McConnell when he froze up.
when he froze up.
Oh.
Okay. I'm gonna go back to this question because where was it? Not that one. Not that one. There was a big blue question that I saw. Which TPA does the most commercial losses that the industry would consider large losses? None of them. I don't know one TPA that handles large loss. Do you? Do you guys know any large TPAs that do large loss?
Oh,
No.
well, you know DKI because they got rid of their.
But they're not.
DKI is not TPA.
They're a
TPA is-
franchise. They're not a
Okay.
TPA.
Fair.
No, well, no, DKI is not so much a franchise as it is almost like a business network of contractors coming
Okay.
together.
Okay.
But no, as far as TPAs go, I mean, Sedgwick will get involved on commercial losses, but it's not going to be ran through their TPA service usually.
Nice.
Yeah. It's going to be above their heads.
It's going to
Those
be
guys just,
Young and Associates.
well, they don't know shit. So, you know, their authority is limited to what they can bullshit their way through, and you can't bullshit your way through a multi-million-dollar loss. You've actually got to know
Thank
something.
Joe. Nice job there. That's a nice little one.
This was a sad story, though. This was he responded in a meaningful way to a large commercial loss. This is sexy as all get out. I mean, this is
Right.
this is what we live for.
This is
And then he was
Dallas,
booted. He was booted by what I can only assume, he didn't say, but I can only assume it was Belfour. Because so he had the relationship at the local level with, you know, building manager or whoever, got him in there, and they started work. They were about to set equipment, as the story goes, and then they were told to stop. And Belfour, I'm assuming it was Belfour, swooped in because they had the contract. They had
The Red Alert
the emergency services contract at the global level. And there's very little you can do about that. And what do you, no amount of stomping your feet or throwing a fit is going to save this, you know, give you this job. So, you know, you got to bill for what you did and get out of there. But the silver lining was the last part here was they paid him on the spot for what he did, but they are sending me their vendor forms so to get next up if anything like this happens again. So yeah, they salvage the relationship and hopefully they'll get on the vendor list for the next time. And that's
the problem is that Belfour does
have the right insurance ready. That's the biggest thing that holds you guys up. You guys get these relationships. This is what I see. You get these relationships because most of you are rebels. That's what I keep saying is the one thing about the TPAs. They help to legitimize the industry when it comes to the insurance requirements. Some don't have the requirements that these TPAs require. So when it is time to pull the trigger, because you got to be there fast, you get pulled off only because you provided a certificate of insurance that doesn't have a $2 million umbrella, doesn't go over the auto and the comp. Doesn't have ongoing and completed operations. So if you think you want to be ready to play with the big kids, know what those insurance requirements are and have those ready on your COI so that you can provide the evidence and get the job.
And guys, if you're doing a water mitigation and you for any reason it's a commercial loss and you for any reason assume it's going to be more than a 5-digit number, you need to be running time and material tracking everything. You are not using Xactimate on a large loss commercial. And if you are trying to do that, you are going to piss everybody involved off because that's not how it's not designed for commercial.
Well, not emergency services in the very least. I've done several multi-million-dollar Xactimate estimates for rebuild.
Okay, I'll give you that there, but not on a emergency water mitigation side of things.
Not emergency. This is an interesting question. Let's answer this among the five of us. Of the top 10, which carrier makes claims resolution the most difficult for your business and customers? It's this is quite a list of the
I'm
the
upset that
usual suspects.
I chose Travelers because
Yeah.
only because they did not put on that list their Erie insurance.
Okay. I'm inclined to go State
I
Farm, but
chose State Farm because there's no Travelers in Hawaii. But yeah,
Travelers adjusters are. I can deal with State Farm all day long. Allstate, I have a great relationship. Travelers, I hate saying this and all, but the most asshole adjusters I've ever met have been at Travelers. And then Liberty and Erie are the ones that are on Symbility, and they are like, we don't accept Xactimate no more. Yes, you fucking do. Shut up.
yeah.
But
yeah,
I'm
Liberty
gonna go.
switched over to the other guys now. Yeah.
I'm gonna go Progressive because I've done several Home Site. Home Site is a Progressive company. Claims
Ew.
over the last year,
Oh,
every single one has been a shit show.
actually, you're right there. I did one home site here in Hawaii, and it was total. Like, I think they didn't even pay the client until like 4 or 5 or 6 months later.
It's bizarre how bad they are at settling claims.
I want to know who chose Chubbs. I love Chubbs. Chubbs is the greatest insurance in the world. Like,
You know, pay whatever they want.
Yeah,
Just make
like,
your
who
company
has-
happy for their client.
I had a lady get drunk and she was like, I didn't like. I was like, what happened? She's like, oh, I spilt my wine on the floor on the hardwood floor because I didn't like how it looked, and they covered it.
Wow. Yeah, I had it's been over a decade since I've had a Chubb claim that I handled myself, but the last one I did, they had a secondary loss upstairs from the original loss while we were handling the original loss, and the adjuster said just build it in.
Wow.
But I don't think Chubb is like that anymore. They had a pipe break downstairs, and then a washing machine failed upstairs.
Why Nationwide? Not a one. Everybody likes Nationwide.
I don't know. I don't like anyone on this list, but we are talking about which one is the worst.
You know, and that's the thing. It was State Farm. If you know how to, I mean, if like I've said before, if you know how to play the game, and you know already what road bumps you're going to experience and you're ready for them and you are right and you're following the industry standard and you know how to write a solid valid estimate, State Farm is not a problem. I really truly, and I hate saying this, but I really feel that a vast majority of people that have issues with the insurance companies are because either A, they think they know the standard of care and they're not actually following it correctly, or they think they're billing correctly in Xactimate and they're not, and they're using the wrong, they're just mixing up WTR, HMR, and stuff like that there, and then they're getting picked apart. And I mean, it's just I feel like State Farm though is not that bad. I mean, hell, I've got State Farm to pay for jobs or a job site supervisor for a job that was in town because it was on the edge of town in a valley with dead cell phone signal. And I was like, it's going to be like a 20-minute drive for my guys to get out of the valley here to be able to call me if there's an issue. So I'm just going to sit on the job site, work on work, and I'm going to bill you like an hour or two a day of it and all. But I'm going to be in my truck because they need help. And they were like, okay, click, and did it.
I have of the 4 State Farm claims that I've handled in one way, shape, or form in the last year, all 4 are now referred to attorneys. Wow. So that tells you how my local State Farm guys are handling claims. They are not. They're just dropping the ball. This is an interesting Pioneer Square Mall. I think this is Portland, Oregon. There's probably more than one Pioneer Square Mall.
I think the guy's in Washington.
Recommended consultants for large loss mitigation contractors. Is he talking about an IEP?
No, he wants to know if there's like a Young and Associates or a JSL that contractors can hire instead of the insurance hiring.
They do exist. I was one of those guys for a little bit, but
I've done some of the work myself as well. But I mean, the problem is most contractors, there's not enough drive out there for contractors to want to hire consultants and stuff.
Because they think they just look at the cost of hiring a consultant, and
I just billed my time to the insurance and said, put it against the expense fund. Here you go.
Well, I would say you need to have somebody on your side because they are going to bring in somebody, they're going to bring in a Held or somebody, a Sedgwick or somebody. Yeah, good luck. Good luck. Find somebody. Yeah, let us know a little more details and maybe reach out to one of us and we can help you down that road. I'm not seeing much else in.
Everybody's tired, or they're actually out working right now, I think.
Or they're
Oh.
trying to sling equipment, which, we are not an equipment rental page, people. Stop with that bullshit.
Okay, I know something we can talk about that kind of works with what's going on right now, guys. If you don't know, and because I had somebody I was talking to about it last week and all, and they didn't know what it meant. If you don't know what the phrase subrogation means, you need to invest the time in taking the little course. They mail it to you, and then you mail it in, and you get a place. Subrogation. If you think that it's due to a defect or whatever, it's knowing how to properly document the cause of loss and securing the scene, so that way if a subrogation claimant comes up, the insurance has all the information they need. And it's in your benefit to do that because it helps your homeowner out as well. And if you don't know what subrogation means, like I said, it pretty much means, oh, my washing hose burst. Well, that washing hose was only 3 years old. It's designed to last for 7 or 8 years. Therefore, it's a defect. And if you just throw the washing line away, that's a problem. If you got a spigot that freezes and breaks and it's on the solder joint, that might be a subrogation against the plumber for not properly soldering the line or something.
Is it our responsibility?
Technically, if we're the first on site, it's our job to quantify and control the environment or control the scene. If we're the first on site,
No. Is it our responsibility to keep an eye out for subrogation opportunities?
It's in our best interest to educate our homeowners and to ensure that they are properly.
You should have the correct documentation to determine the cause of loss. I mean that you have that.
Sure. The cause was a broken pipe or a failed washing machine. I had one here locally this year.
But don't let the homeowner throw it away. Keep it.
I think that's a good point, Joe.
Yeah. I've had a few claims where the adjuster shows up and he wants to take the part with him that failed. So we always got in the habit of keeping it on site.
I think that's great.
Yeah, but
then I had a couple claims too where the category 3, there's crap all over the carpet and the floor. We threw out the carpet and the adjuster's like, "Where's the carpet?" I was like, "It's in the dumpster, the dump." Like, well, I was like, "See, I can't quantify it." So I was like, "Well, you're more welcome to go to the dump and get a piece of carpet." But yeah, it's just, that's why going forward, I always left a little bit of everything on site. That way they can take whatever they want.
Good idea.
Right, but is that a courtesy or is that a requirement? I would argue that we are not in the business of looking out for the insurance company's best interest, especially since they are not looking out for our best interest.
But I'm in the interest of
looking out for opportunity. I'm not going to foul up a subrogation opportunity, but I'm not going to go out of my way to say, "Oh, by the way, there might be a subrogation opportunity here."
No,
that's none of my business.
I'll make the homeowner aware of it, because if they subrogate, they get their deductible amount back, and it's a no-cost loss. Now, granted, it still counts as a loss on the file,
unless you have home site
and all. But I mean, and blah blah blah. In Indiana, if your pipe freezes, that's an act of God. The plumbing, normally it's access, and then all the damages will be covered, but the physical repair you have to pay for yourself. If it's a freeze line break, in Indiana at least, like 90% of our insurance companies will reimburse the homeowner and pay for it because it's an act of God. Knowing things like that there is important. A lot of times your homeowner can get away with that.
Joe, is this from your page? I'm not sure what they mean, but I'm assuming it's from your page.
I don't know, maybe.
That's nonsense. Just be honest, all parties. I'm not advocating you're not being honest. I'm not advocating dishonesty. I'm not advocating hiding anything, but our guys, our crews have enough to worry about. And I don't think we should put one more thing in their head. Oh, shoot, I better save that thing. Otherwise, I might get in trouble because I'm not looking out for subrogation opportunities. It's just one more thing that I don't think we need to burden our crews with looking out for. You know,
Well, I mean, in my opinion, though, I mean, I have to quantify what kind of loss it is, regardless
yeah,
if it's a cat 1, 2, or 3. Well, how do I
sure,
do that? I need to know what the cause of loss is.
yeah,
Oh, and it's, so if I know what if I, I have a lot of contractors. Well, I don't know what the cause of loss is. I just know it came from the toilet, so it was cat 3. What's I mean, that's not valid, So, oh, if my guys know, oh, it was your stuff. Hey, homeowner, keep this. You might have a subrogation claim here, which means that it's going to be easier for this. You'll get your money back if they're able to successfully subrogate it, and all. And to educate your client, just as we do with everything else on onboarding, knowing that there is important. Don't let I've had homeowners throw the old water heater away. You know how many times I've seen an adjuster say they needed to see the old water heater to determine if it was actually out of warranty or not, and things like people throw
yeah.
this
But
stuff away all the time.
does throwing that water heater away disqualify the claim?
No, it does not disqualify the claim, but when a lot of people are nowadays, especially with State Farm, have a 2 or 3% deductible amount,
Sure.
if they can, if
A
you can
lot of
help
it.
people
No, a
recover,
lot of people don't.
if you
I
can
mean,
help people recover those numbers by validating a subrogation file, man, that makes you just look like more of a hero to them.
Well, I worked the last subrogation I worked was a washing machine failure. It failed the first time they used it. They just brought it home from Best Buy, brought it home, hooked it up. First run, it exploded and washed out their house. Obvious subrogation. The first people they called was the installers from Best Buy. The second people they called was Panasonic or whoever made the washing machine. But at the end of the day, they had to file a claim under their own insurance to get this thing covered. And Homesite is going to subrogate against the manufacturer, absolutely. But it was such a hassle. There was no help from Best Buy or the manufacturer. They even had, I mean, we had their subrogation folks on the line, and they were zero help until they filed their own claim.
Mm-hmm.
And then Homesite made their life miserable for 3 months, dragging this thing out. But I mean, I don't understand. What I don't understand is if Homesite knows full well that this is a subrogation cut and it's open and closed. There is no doubt that their failed product caused this damage. Homesite's going to get reimbursed 100%, but still Homesite acted like it was their money, and they just it was so frustrating. So at the end of it, I'm like, I don't want to help Homesite get reimbursed for that. They made my client's life hell. That's on them. Let them deal with it. We're not going to throw away the washing machine. Fine. But I'm not going to go out of my way to help an adjuster who's not going to go out of their way to help me.
Well, I feel like a lot of people have that mentality because, like, I've seen so many times we get in a car accident or someone gets in a car accident. And they're like, oh, they hit me. I'm just going to go through their insurance. No, you file your own insurance. And
No, you don't. No, you don't. So I kind of feel like I'm more of an advocate for the long-term effects of having that claim sitting on this homeowner's policy for the next 5 years. They're going to get canceled. The higher up that claim is, the more it exacerbates the ratio continues to let the carrier look at it, whether or not they want to have this person on the books and whether or not they're going to have a rate increase or they're going to get a cancellation notice.
They're going to get non-renewed.
So if they have a claim that's sitting on them and they have a lame ass claim adjuster and the claim ass adjuster doesn't do their due diligence to subrogate and they settle for a quarter on the dollar, that's still going to hurt your homeowner in the long run. So you should want to care that they do their due diligence to try to subrogate, because as long as they can carve some of that money back, it's not going to hurt your homeowner as bad. Same with you guys when I'm insuring you guys. If you guys find out that your driver was dumb, or let's say your driver wasn't dumb. Let's say he's driving his box truck and he gets rear-ended and you call me and you're like, oh, the guy's just totaled the wrap and the back doors are crammed and I have loss of income. What should I do, Jen? If they know for sure it's a rear end, I'm going to be like, let's just pretend like you and I didn't talk. Sure, I can do all the paperwork and I can run the claim and I can put in the claim against you guys. And yeah, you won't have to pay the deductible if they say it's their fault. But if they get the runaround, your carrier has a duty to defend you, trigger to get you put back to the way you were, and hope to God they can go back to dumbass State Farm and get them to subrogate and give them 100% of the liability. If that doesn't happen, it might be in your best interest to hang up the phone from me and say, go call that driver's direct and get them to give you the rental car, get them to, start giving you your business interruption and get them to pay for that guy's medical as fast as you can. Because otherwise you're going to have a workers' comp claim for your employee. You're going to have an auto claim for your vehicle that got damaged. You're going to have
if they were working though, Jen, if they were working, isn't a workers' comp claim anyway?
If they were working, yes, for sure. It is. Okay. If they're in a vehicle and they are driving, but I just had one last week where the guy's like, well, he was driving the truck, but he wasn't at work yet. He got it. So I'm like, ooh, this is a gray area. Let's see if you could pull this rabbit out of your butt. And it is pulling through because he went and got a lawyer. We never put our carrier on notice. And he went and got a lawyer and he went to the at-fault driver and said, my guy that was driving my truck wants you to pay him. He got hurt. So sometimes the subrogation is really important, like Joe said, because in the long run, it could really hurt the homeowner if it's like, oh, la-di-da, that's why we buy insurance. Well, that was the olden days. Now the new days is when you put in a claim or you're fighting the claim, you have to be a little bit strategic about how you're going to make all the moving parts work.
Yeah, for sure. Because I know the previous company, we had 2 injuries, and they turned out to be big workers' comp claim, and a $50,000 policy turned into a $150,000 policy, and you can't get anyone. I mean, you're pretty much stuck until that gets off your record.
So with workers' comp, I don't know if I'll take this little thing. With workers' comp, you guys, you have to remember the olden days of having a guy that got hurt and he slipped and it was considered a first aid and you send him to the 24-hour medical center and it's called first aid and he goes away and it doesn't count on your workers' comp. That's not a thing anymore. A guy that gets injured at work, it is a claim, whether he's in an auto accident, not his fault. It is a workers' comp claim. They will open up the claim. They will find out how much he makes an hour, how long the little bean counter will be like, well, this looks like soft tissue damage. He's not going to be working for 4 months. They immediately set reserve aside for his loss of income, and they set aside reserve for how much they think the medical bills are going to be for the next 5 months that we're going to play. Guy doesn't feel good. Guy hurt his back. That claim stays open, usually for a year and a half, depending how cooperative it is. Get that guy back to work. Let him work in the office. Train him. Let him get his new S520. Get him back in the office. Pay him so that claim does not exacerbate with loss of income and the medical. Because what happens is that claim stays open for 4 years. It stays on your mod worksheet, like a report card, like a GPA in college. Those 4 years, that claim is affected for 4 years. So you and I are going to be talking about this claim that happened in 2023. We're going to be talking about it till 2028. And there ain't no way you're going to get around it. So if there is a way to subrogate, whether it be a liability claim, and especially, Robert, you're absolutely right, a workers' comp claim. You subrogate that claim, you keep those costs down. If you can get that guy back to work and pay him $20 to go pick up paper clips off the ground, you're going to be way better off in the long run. I had a guy that had a $7,000 auto claim and not at fault. The guy got hurt. It stayed open forever. His workers' comp went up $21,000 for the next 3 years. And he's like, can I just give the carrier back the $7,000 that they gave my guy?
Right.
I'll write a check right now. And they were like, I mean, that's how dumb it is. And we couldn't do it. He got screwed for 3 years for an extra 21 grand because it checked up his next month. So keep in mind, the more payroll you report, it's like a teeter-totter. The more payroll you report, meaning your guys are all working, the higher they allow for you to have an experience, a loss ratio.
Loss experience. Okay.
Yeah, you're allowed to have a little bit of a loss ratio based on how much you're reporting, but the more payroll you're reporting, the lower it's dropping that X mod, which is the better rates you're getting on your workers' comp.
Okay. Thank you, Jen. Let's end on a more positive note than workers' comp.
Sorry.
It's workers' comp is just such a necessary evil. It's just okay. Best ASD cert class for new techs. ASD, for those who don't know, advanced structural drying. Looks like from the comments section, REITs wins this hands down.
Good job, Jeremy.
I'm a big fan of Jeremy. But I'm also curious, E3, has anyone in the audience or here had an experience with DeWalt over at E3? Because they're doing things different over there.
Chuck's a good guy, good company, good people.
Chuck is a great guy. Yeah. So honorable mentions, E3, Shapers Floodhouse. Never heard of them. You guys never heard of those guys? Bottom line, any ASD, anything from this list, folks, you can't go wrong. Get your guys.
Yeah, there's so limited ASD flood houses. I mean, you pretty much have less than a dozen for the whole United States. Anywhere you can get a class and get on that roster, that's there you go.
And save yourself money. Make sure it's a WTR ASD combo class. Knock them both out at the same time. Don't separate them out.
Yeah.
And you guys, if you're going to take the dry out, get the mold too, because for your insurance premium, it's the same price. And if you don't have the mold coverage, you don't have all that coverage. You are limited to only looking at it, not doing anything with it.
Have you guys seen what Kevin Dooley is about to do?
He's going to flood his warehouse?
He's going to flood his own facility and then dry it out. Let me find it. Let me see if I could find this.
That's awesome.
Post.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, I read that post. That sounded pretty interesting. I think he's trying to see if they can get the IICRC will give credit.
I think they're close. Okay, this is. I don't like how LinkedIn did this, but let's share this a little bit. I don't like this layout. It's going to be really hard for you guys to read. The week of March 11th, they're going to flood their own building. How many square feet? Let's see here. 13,000 square feet. 6-day class, and he's going to have 100 students. I would like to see if I could make it up there March 11th.
Where is that, Montana? Where is he?
No, he's in Toronto. Let me see here. I believe Toronto. Let me keep going down. They're going to be erecting a 4,000 square foot tent for the temporary classroom because they're flooding the entire facility. This is crazy and brilliant at the same time. I love it.
I love it.
I'm a huge fan of Mr. Dooley. Looks like he's going to get some help from Encircle, Chris Rosnowski, Big with Technologies. Albie is going to be there. That is going to be an amazing event.
Well, my first thought is the warehouse is 20 years old now. Now they do a renovation. Why not do the renovation, flood your own place, get students to come do it. Free labor. Here you go.
Well, that's March 11th. March 11th.
March 11th, and I'm pretty sure it's Toronto. Let me see here. I guess I could just click on Kevin and see where he's at. I don't know. Anyway, I thought I'd end with that. Go to restorationco.com. I thought he was changing the name. I thought he was changing his company name. No? And he's got his phone number. If you're hooked up with him on LinkedIn, you can find him pretty easy. By the way, hook up with me on LinkedIn. Hook up with everyone here on LinkedIn. Let's continue to build that. Let's take our connections beyond the Restoration Rebel page into the greater world. What do you say? So, all right. On that note, I think we're gonna end it.
I'm going to end it
Um,
on a good joke for Mr.
All right.
Larson tonight,
Give me the
just so
joke.
I can give him a joke that he can use around town here.
Okay.
Did you guys know that laughing is forbidden in Hawaii? It's a aloha state.
Ah, damn, you should have told me that I just got back from Hawaii Monday. I could have used that.
And it
I
took it,
love it.
and he stopped for a second. You could see the gears turn, and he's like, "That's stupid." And then the more he thought about it, he's like, "Okay, maybe that is a little bit funny."
You
All
know
right, y'all.
why I found out this year that Santa Claus only used 6 reindeers this year?
Only 6. Why?
Well, because he left Comet home to clean the sink.
That's one. That sounds like one my son would try to give me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
All right.
All right,
You guys be good. We'll see you next week, 5:30 Pacific, same
God
place.
bless you all.
See ya.
Bye.